the way that it is used, it's often used as a smoke screen to conceal troops from enemy forces and so on. But what it does is it causes horrific injuries to people. It burns through to your muscle, it burns through to your bone, and it can be fatal. And when it is used anywhere where civilians are present, that use can constitute a war crime because of the harm it inflicts on civilians. What's particularly concerning with white phosphorus is that it can reignite weeks after it's been deployed. And that means that even if it's used, say, where civilians aren't present, that when they move back into that area and the conflict has moved on, they may still face injury from the use of white phosphorus.
You say the use of white phosphorus can be considered a war crime. Under what circumstances?
The circumstances under which it is considered a war crime are when it's found to have been used to deliberately target civilians. Because of that nature, it can reignite. That can be found, say, even when it is used as a smokescreen and civilians aren't in the area. When its use is repeated, and it can be found that it could injure civilians.
This claim has been made overnight by Ukraine's human rights monitor. How can it be verified?
It can be verified a number of ways, and obviously Amnesty and a number of other organisations are working around the clock to verify attacks in Ukraine. White phosphorus, it can be seen. It creates the kind of white cloud, so it can be verified through video evidence. We're seeing a lot of that coming through Ukraine. Obviously, reports of people on the ground. What we haven't seen, and I think it has to be noted, is we haven't seen Russia use white phosphorus or chemical weapons in other conflicts, including in Syria. So a lot of what we're seeing in Ukraine, the use of cluster munitions, the use of a dumb bomb last week, is exactly what we saw happen in Syria. But we have never seen the Russian military use white phosphorus in conflict. So we hope it won't be used in this one.
In terms of documenting war crimes and then proving them, how long can that process take?
It can take a really long time. Thanks to technology, we're able to document and verify some crimes quite quickly, including in the past, some of the verification we've done at Amnesty of white phosphorus attacks. But justice often, unfortunately, does take a really long time in conflict situations. Thankfully, the International Criminal Court has already opened an inquiry into Ukraine, and I think that will really help particularly in documenting whether the attacks are deliberate and in getting justice for the victims of those attacks as soon as possible.
You mentioned that war crimes investigation in Ukraine has already been opened. Can you talk to us finally just a little about what progress there has already been?
It's difficult to talk exactly about what progress has been made in that investigation, but what we have seen at Amnesty International and a number of other organisations have seen is that the Russian military has repeatedly committed violations of international humanitarian law. They have, used these indiscriminate weapons. They've hit civilian areas, including hospitals, including schools and kindergartens, and they've killed and injured hundreds of civilians. So already there is documentation, really extensive documentation of violations of international humanitarian law. And those, if it's found they are deliberate, that could constitute war crimes. And that's where the ICC would step in and hopefully bring those accountable to justice.